Justyn Martin looked pretty good at times, and the defense looked really good for most of the game. But hey, it's still another pretty large defeat for our Bruins. Moral victory, I don't know, but 27-11, the final score for UCLA against Penn State this morning. We'll talk about it on today's edition of the Locked On UCLA Postcast right now.
You are Locked On Bruins Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, Bruin Nation? What's going on? And welcome back to another edition of the Locked On UCLA Postcast, coming at you live on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel and after the fact, wherever you get the Locked On UCLA podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, my name is Gavin Carlson, a recent UCLA alum, just graduated in June, a lifelong UCLA fan, the son of an alum. My sister went to UCLA as well, so a Bruin through and through, and also a former credentialed UCLA journalist with the Daily Bruin. So I have every angle on this team, being a fan, being a student going to games, being an alum now, and also someone who has covered this team, been in press conferences, all that good stuff. The UCLA Bruins travel to Happy Valley to that unbelievable atmosphere at Penn State, the number 7 Nittany Lions, and a respectable performance from UCLA today. Of course, you lose 27-11. That probably doesn't even tell the true story because it was really 27-3 until the final seconds of this game, which is why I'm going to get into my opinions. I'm already ruffling some feathers on Twitter with some of the things I'm saying. I already see Irving Jimenez in here saying start J-Mart. I'll get to my take on Justyn Martin. I think it's an unpopular decision. I just try to be as realistic as possible with things, and some people don't like it, and that's fair. And everyone's allowed to have their own opinion. I have mine, and we'll get to that in a second. But 27-11, the final score, a respectable score in what was a respectable performance. The defense, in my opinion, is the story. You hold Penn State to a scoreless first quarter. They do score 14 points in the second quarter, but still, just 14 points at half. UCLA was supposed to lose this game by more than 28. Penn State didn't even score 28 points. So the defense deserves a lot of credit. Justyn Martin makes the start for Ethan Garbers, who was out with that injury from last week, and he looks solid. We'll get to it all. But before we do, quick shout out to the sponsor of today's show. It is FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. One more thing. I know I normally have the border around me. Some technical issues. I don't really know what was going on, to be honest. And I figured I just want to get this show going. So apologies for not having the text behind or next to me on the left here, but I guess you get to see my face in a bigger view. Let's jump right into this one. UCLA loses, like I said, 27-11, but I say the story obviously is Justyn Martin, right? Coming into this game, starting instead of Ethan Garbers. And I've had kind of a balanced view on what Ethan Garbers has been so far this season. I think, and I still do, the offensive line is not great. Easily its best performance today. I thought Eric Bieniemy really underwhelming in terms of his play calling early on in the season. He got better today. And then Ethan Garbers himself, underwhelming at times, some really questionable decision making, but also playing in an impossible environment in terms of having to deal with a horrible offensive line, a play caller who's still learning to play call at the college level. And then Garbers did some things in those LSU games specifically where I'm like, I still see the Ethan Garbers that destroyed USC and Caleb Williams last year. The Ethan Garbers that killed Stanford. I know, not a very impressive win, but and it's funny. I am not, this is why all of this is funny to me. I am not an Ethan Garbers like truther or anything. Last year, I was known in the UCLA community as the guy who was screaming for Dante Moore all season, even when they went back to Garbers, right? I was known for being the Dante Moore defender or whatever in many UCLA fan circles. So it's kind of ironic that now I'm being seen as the Ethan Garbers defender. But Justyn Martin comes in today and he does pretty well. He exceeds expectations in terms of not looking frazzled. We know that atmosphere is unlike many in all of college football. Over 110,000 people in that stadium today. With the striped game, white and navy blue in the crowd, Atmosphere is electric. One of the best defenses in the country every year. This year, no different for Penn State. This team is number 7 in the country, elite. Justyn Martin making his first career start in the first ever road Big Ten game for UCLA, and it's in arguably the second or third most difficult atmosphere in all of the Big Ten. So many reasons for Justyn Martin to look terrible today, and he did not at all. And that's why I'm going to give him plenty of credit, and I don't want anyone to misconstrue any of the things I'm saying. Justyn Martin goes 22 of 30. So efficient. No turnovers. No picks. Excuse me. He did have a fumble. It was not lost, though. And other than that, no picks. The fumble, like I said, isn't even a turnover. Pretty efficient day. Logan Loya, 6 for 57. So glad to see him being used in this offense again. But for me, the number one takeaway with this offense is not Justyn Martin. It's the story coming in, of course. But for me, it's the offensive line and play calling were so much better. And I know we're praising an offense that scored 3 points in the first half and didn't score a touchdown until 30 seconds left in the game. So the standards at UCLA are in the gutter. And that's why I don't like seeing people see Justyn Martin make one throw to TJ Harden down the sideline on a wheel route. And they're saying it's the best throw they've seen in years from a UCLA quarterback, saying that he's the guy, he's the future, Garbers is in the doghouse, blah, 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 blah. Timeout. This team didn't score a touchdown until 30 seconds left in the game, and we're like jumping for joy. Where are the standards at UCLA? I know we are supposed to get blown out by Penn State, okay? So I'm not saying that we should expect UCLA to score 4 touchdowns, but we should look at this game and say, wow, Justyn Martin looked pretty good. For a guy who easily could have been too scared of the spotlight in this type of environment, he looked pretty good, but it's still not good enough as a team. That should be the take. Right? If we're people, a fan base that is serious in terms of being realistic, but also being having standards, right? So I feel like people need to find a better balance of two. I don't think it's unrealistic to say Justyn Martin was solid today. A lot of the throws were to wide open guys or behind the line of scrimmage. He had one throw that traveled more than like 10 yards in the air and was completed, and it was that throw to TJ Harden. But timeout. People act like Ethan Garbers can't do that. Did Ethan Garbers not evade 3 pass rushers, take a shot to his throat, and hit Logan Loya in the end zone at the end of the first half against LSU? Did Ethan Garbers not do that? Did Ethan Garbers not roll out, break a bunch of tackles, hit Rico Flores in stride on a big play against Hawaii, then hit him deep down the field for a 40-yard touchdown? Did Garbers not do that? Right? That's what I'm confused about. And it stinks, and I'm going to stop doing it right now because this should be a game where we're saying, good for Justyn Martin. I'm really happy for him. As someone who's covered this team, who's been to practices, saw him last year have to deal with there being 4 guys ahead of him in the depth chart, right? They had Dante Moore, Ethan Garbers, Colin Schlee, even, Chase Griffin could be considered ahead of Justyn Martin on depth charts. To see Justyn Martin have an opportunity and to do what he did today, I'm really happy for him. Really happy for him. I'm really satisfied with what I saw from Eric Bieniemy in terms of the play calling. But one thing I need people to make sense to me is how can you be criticizing Bieniemy for being too conservative with the play calling in this game, but also say that Justyn Martin is a better decision maker than Ethan Garbers? That doesn't make sense to me, right? Because both can't be true for the most part, right? Either Bieniemy was telling Justyn Martin to make really basic throws and he was making them, which in that case, okay, you can say maybe the play calling is too conservative, but then you can't say, wow, what a great decision maker Justyn Martin is. It's snap, look, if the guy's open, throw it. If he's not, we got nothing. Most quarterbacks can do that. Ethan Garbers can do that. Okay? So when Ethan Garbers is running for his life behind, in the pocket with pressure in his face every throw these first couple of games, and so then he throws a pick or two and he fumbles a snap or two, you can be critical of Ethan Garbers' decision-making, but you then have to realize he's being asked to do way more than Justyn Martin was asked to do today. Justyn Martin was asked to snap the ball, look, and the ironic thing is I've never seen more open receivers for UCLA in weeks. That's the thing I haven't seen in weeks, is there were a lot of open guys today. So credit to Bieniemy for dialing it up, and credit to Justyn Martin for finding him and making accurate throws. There's no criticism being leveled at Justyn Martin from me today. okay? The criticism is to the people that are saying because he completed like 5 decent throws, he's better than Ethan Garbers, who's made 20 decent throws a game while getting hit, while being asked to, figure out plays at the line of scrimmage and everything. UCLA had to waste 2 timeouts early in this game because if the initial look isn't there, Justyn Martin isn't capable yet of changing the play and all this stuff. Meanwhile, Garbers is being expected to run a pro-style offense. So, I don't want to be negative, okay? Justyn Martin exceeded expectations, and I'm really happy for him, and I'm really satisfied with him. I'm satisfied with the play calling from Bieniemy. We're just not as talented as Penn State's defense or offense at all. And the offensive line actually exceeded expectations as well. But we scored 3 points until the last 30 seconds of the game, okay? So for people to be running around saying, Martin's the truth and Garbers stinks is ridiculous, okay? That's just my opinion. When we come back from the first break here on this podcast, we'll get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty in terms of some key plays, some key moments, some bad calls by refs that kind of costed UCLA. We had a pick that was called back. So we'll get into all of that. We'll talk about the defense, which I think was the best unit for UCLA today, after our first break here on the Locked On UCLA Postcast. Now, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel, once again. And I'm a big fan of FanDuel. I know we don't get to legally bet in California, but whenever I've been in another state, I use FanDuel as is. And now they have these great promotions. Like right now, NFL fans, football fans in general, you can get started with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. Back here live on the Locked On UCLA Postcast, here on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. I am Gavin Carlson, lifelong UCLA fan, former credentialed UCLA journalist, UCLA alum, recently graduated. I've got the degree behind me here. I've got the UCLA helmet, game-worn UCLA helmet right there. There's my sash as well. UCLA through and through. So when I say negative things, when I'm critical, it is not out of hate, okay? It is out of the utmost love for this team, for this program, and it's for me wanting more, right? It's for me wanting more. I don't want to be satisfied with us scoring 3 points until 30 seconds left in the game. I don't want us being satisfied with a quarterback making a couple good throws and we're anointing him as the best QB we've seen and making the best throws we've seen in a minute. Come on. Give credit to Ethan Garbers, what he's done last year towards the end of the year. Dante Moore had better throws than some of the throws from Justyn Martin today, okay? And it's not taking away from Justyn Martin at all. It's just saying, can we please be reasonable with our takes? Can we please not see Justyn Martin make one throw to TJ Harden down the sideline and anoint him, okay? I have higher expectations for our program than that. That's all I will say. Now, I keep referencing the wheel route throw from Justyn Martin because it was a great throw, okay? He hits TJ Harden down the sideline, huge play, but it wasn't his only great throw. A couple really impressive ones on that first drive, right after UCLA comes out and forces a 3-and-out, which was really impressive, and we'll get to the defense in a second. You see UCLA commit to the run early, TJ Harden for 3, but then boom, Justyn Martin hits Logan Loya in stride, wide open, okay? He was wide open, which is why, once again, the play calling gets some credit today. But Logan Loya is wide open and Justyn Martin hits him for 16. Good throw off his back foot. We know he has arm talent. We know he has leg talent. I'm not taking away from Justyn Martin, okay? He looked good. He hits Logan Loya for 3, hits Quasi Gilmore for 3. Justyn Martin then hits Keegan Jones for a yard. I mean, that right there should tell you what the game plan was today. 3 passes are completed, and yet you gain a total of 7 yards. 3 passes for 7 yards, okay? Not deep throws or anything. But then another impressive throw, 4th and 3, hits Maliki Matavao, accurate throw. 4th down at Penn State, impressive throw. Good for Justyn Martin. Then we run it to TJ Harden for 5. It's 3rd and 5. A pass completed to Harden for 4. A lot of throws to the running backs today. But then this is really a costly play right here. 4th and 1 at the 23. The game is tied at 0. Kick the field goal. You know me. I've been critical of DeShaun Foster for being too conservative on these 4th down decisions. But you're playing against Penn State. You're not going to be down there very often, and the game is tied. You have a chance to have a lead against Penn State at Penn State. You take that and run with it. You kick the field goal. You go up 3-0. You say, I believe in my defense, and you make this a game where the final score is going to be 13-10, right? That was my opinion. Not to mention the play call was obvious. It's 4th down. You're going to run the ball up the middle. We did it. We got stuffed. Our front 5, although the offensive line looked good today, is not more talented than that defensive front. And unsurprisingly, Harden gets stuffed, loses a yard, and UCLA gets no points. Really hurts, especially when, once again, it's a 6 and out for Penn State on the next drive, once again proving that the defense could be trusted today to keep this game close, and points were going to be at a premium for both teams. Go get that 3, go up early. We don't do it, it hurts. UCLA then has another good drive after that. Martin hits Logan Loya for 18. Big takeaway, not only Justyn Martin, but Logan Loya. One thing I need to say, does J.Michael Sturdivant exist? I've said it on every show. Does he exist? This guy, J.Michael Sturdivant, after the season he had at Cal, people were talking about him being a day 2 selection in the draft right then and there. He comes over to UCLA, has a decent year at times with Garbers and Dante Moore. Okay, but the reputation on this guy in terms of talent, it's there. Track speed, big height, maybe not a big body, but he has a good catch radius and can make catches in traffic. Okay, you use any metric you want. His status after his year at Cal, his status coming into UCLA, his status after his first year at UCLA. I know this means nothing, but if you open up the video game, NCAA Football 25, who's the highest rated player on UCLA? It's J.Michael Sturdivant, okay? And meanwhile, we have another game where he doesn't catch the football. He doesn't catch the football. He's not targeted. Okay, so that is a huge question mark for me. The other one was Logan Loya. And I'm glad that last week at LSU and now this week, we are seeing the team, or not last week at LSU, excuse me, 2 weeks ago at LSU mainly. We are seeing the team realize that Logan Loya is still that guy, okay? He's very limited in what he does. He's a slot receiver, but he is a good slot receiver. And so, once again, Justyn Martin hits Logan Loya for 16 here. Logan Loya 6 for 57. He catches the touchdown at the very end of the game. Really proud of Logan Loya for being resilient after being in the doghouse the first couple of weeks. And whether it's Garbers or Justyn Martin next week, you know my take at this point. I still think it should be Garbers. I think the big takeaway here is that we need to tell Eric Bieniemy that Justyn Martin is starting, but then actually put Ethan Garbers out there. And if Ethan Garbers has the windows that Justyn Martin had today, I think we can do something, especially with the schedule getting a lot easier going forward. But whether it's Garbers, who has proven to have a connection with Loya, or if it is Justyn Martin, Logan Loya needs to be on the field every snap, in the slot. It's what he does. Matavao looked like a guy who can be a weapon. I know only 3 catches, but a couple big ones. And then TJ Harden, 5 for 59, but obviously it's all on that one huge throw down the sideline. An impressive throw, okay? I keep getting frustrated that I have to sound like I'm negative because I'm just responding to some of the crazy things I'm seeing online. That throw to TJ Harden was an impressive throw. He's under pressure. He's waiting. He's got to wait for TJ Harden to get like 15 yards down the sideline before he even lets the pass go, right? And then he puts it on the money. TJ Harden makes a very difficult over-the-shoulder catch for a running back, and Harden almost runs it all the way in. Unfortunately, we're not able to do anything with it, which stinks. Do anything in terms of punch it in for a touchdown, right? So a great throw, but still, people saying that he was drilled while he threw it, he barely got hit in his leg, right? And the throw wasn't even perfect accuracy. So I don't know. Maybe I'm sounding like a really negative Nancy today, but I'm really happy with what I saw from Justyn Martin. I'm just really frustrated that people are taking so many shots at Ethan Garbers today because Justyn Martin made a couple plays. But that was a great throw. It was another great drive. It was really the only big play we had today, though, and that was the main issue. Keegan Jones did have a carry for 22, Berger had a carry for 18, and TJ Harden had a carry for 14, but only one play over 20 yards, or 2 plays over 20 yards, 1 play over 25 yards was that 53-yard bomb to TJ Harden. Meanwhile, Liam Clifford has a 57-yard catch. Harrison Wallace has a 25-yard catch. Another pair of 15-yard catches from Warren and Fleming for Penn State. An 11-yard run for Katron Allen. And finally, I'll get to the defense. Other than those couple of big plays, the defense was phenomenal. Katron Allen, 21 for 78. Penn State runs 30 times for 85 yards. That's looking like the run defense we saw last year. 30 for 85. From Penn State, less than 3 yards a carry. Defense, we saw Akaka Malo crying, talking about this defense and how much he cares about him. Good for him. Good dude, good coach, getting better as a coach, leads the defense to a really impressive performance. Outside of Drew Aller making a big 57-yard throw, outside of Drew Aller scrambling for a few first downs, he didn't scorch us or anything, and it's a pretty solid performance from UCLA's defense. We'll get to that a little bit more after our last break here on the Locked On UCLA Postcast. Now, finally, today's show is brought to you by Gametime. I love Gametime. It's already the best place to buy tickets to anything, and now it has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Here's the example. I go on to buy tickets to a concert last weekend, and StubHub's got 1,000 tickets up. Some are ridiculously priced. Gametime, I opened it up, there's like 12 tickets. And not because there's only 12 tickets that are uploaded onto the site, but because there's only 12 tickets that are a reasonable price. So I don't have to waste time. I see the 12 tickets that are reasonable price, and I buy one in 30 seconds, and it's the best seat I could have gotten for the price. So Gametime Picks, amazing. There's also the all-in pricing feature where it shows you the total up front. You have to toggle this feature, but if you use it, it shows you the price up front with no surprise fees at checkout. It gives you a view from your seat before you buy the ticket, the lowest price guarantee, Gametime ticket coverage, and so much more. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. Back here live one more time on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On UCLA Postcast. I'm Gavin Carlson, and UCLA, they're okay today. They do fall 27-11. It was 27-3 until the final 30 seconds of this game, but a solid start from Justyn Martin in his first career start, 22 of 30, 167, and a touchdown. My player of the game is Logan Loya because I thought he needed to be used more, and he was used more today. He does catch the big touchdown at the end of the game. We'll talk about that final drive. Yes, it meant nothing. Yes, Penn State's defense was barely trying, but 16 for 73 is a solid drive. Keegan Jones, a couple nice runs. Justyn Martin, they finally use him. That was one thing I wanted to see a little bit more of. Take advantage of Justyn Martin's athleticism. Nothing can make it easier for a quarterback than if he doesn't have to throw every time he drops back. Let him run out to the side. He's an athletic guy. They finally used that a bit more on that last drive. He ran for 8 yards. He ran for 7 yards. He had a nice run on 3rd and 4 where he got 3. It was a pretty impressive run. Completes a 4th down catch to Logan Loya. And then eventually on 3rd and goal from the 1, does hit Logan Loya for a touchdown and does hit Keegan Jones for the 2-point conversion. So once again, I've said it a million times just because I don't want people to be confused. Justyn Martin played well today. He did everything he needed to do. But the offensive line looked way better than it has, and the offensive play calling was way better than it's been. There was more wide open receivers than there have ever been so far this season, which is why if you can combine all that, but then still trust Ethan Garbers, the veteran, I think that's still the smart thing to do going forward. Justyn Martin in a couple of years, next year, really excited to see what he can do. But this year is still about Ethan Garbers. That's my opinion. A little bit more about the defense. Drew Aller goes 17 of 24 with 237 yards and a touchdown. Solid game for him, but nothing amazing. I think the big takeaway here is that UCLA's front seven is still really good, right? Like Logan Loya, Leatu Latu's gone. The Murphy twins are gone, but you still have Oladejo and Kane Medrano, 2 elite linebackers, okay? I know Oladejo's playing DN now, but he played it well. Jay Toya is still one of the best D tackles in the conference, even in the Big Ten, right? The secondary, sometimes not great, but Jalen Davies, Devin Kirkwood, they played a lot better today. Jalen Davies, a couple impressive tackles. Brian Addison gets called for a ridiculous holding call that negates an interception. Infuriatingly bad call. And then we get held on the next drive and there's no call. That was really frustrating, okay? But at the end of the day, the defense played really well. So there's not really a player of the game for the defense. If there is one, I'm going to give it to Oladejo. I know Schlesinger has another 15 tackles. I know he continues to just tackle everybody, and so eventually he's got to get his due. I do think he's been one of the better defenders for UCLA this year so far. But Oladejo, at the end, against that Penn State front, 10 tackles 5 solo, a sack, and 2 TFLs. He got in the backfield, was able to corral Kaytron Allen on one of them. Really impressed with Oladejo. He's a great guy. Met him on campus multiple times. A great guy, a leader, and I think he has the athleticism, the smarts, the work ethic, everything to be elite for UCLA the rest of this year and maybe be an NFL player down the line. I truly do believe that. So shout out to the defense. Really, really impressive performance. You give up 27 points, but it's really just on a couple big plays, 1 or 2 big drives. Other than that, they were shutting down Penn State, especially in that first quarter with a 3 and out and then a 6 and out. So shout out to them as well. Looking forward, UCLA, obviously they now fall to 1-4, 0-3 in the conference. But the schedule does get a lot better, okay? We host Minnesota. That's got to be a win, which is why I want to see Garbers playing that game. If Garbers starts and the rest of the offense looks like the way it did with Garbers out there, I do think we beat Minnesota. Then we go to Rutgers. We'll see. They're really banged up right now. They're playing today. We don't know how they'll do in their big Big Ten matchup. But between going to Rutgers, to Nebraska, and at home against Iowa, and then at Washington, those 4 games, I expect this team, even this UCLA team, because I have standards for this program, win 2 of those 4 between hosting Minnesota and Iowa, or that's 5, I guess. Between hosting Minnesota, hosting Iowa, going to Washington, to Rutgers, and to Nebraska, of those 5 games, winning 2 is the minimum. I want to see us win 3 of those games. I think we can. I think we can beat Iowa at home. I think we can beat Minnesota at home. And I think we can beat either Washington or Rutgers there. I really do. Not to mention that Nebraska could still be a winnable game. I still believe this team can get to 5 wins, okay? You beat Fresno State, and then you win 3 of those. You get to 5. You still get over many of the over-unders coming into the year. I still believe, because I love this team. I want this team to do well, and I think they can do well. I think we have the talent. I do think that Bieniemy's improving as a play caller. I think Akaika Malao is improving as a defensive coordinator, and the offensive line, which has been the biggest weakness of this team so far, had its best performance today against Penn State's front 7. So things are getting better. There's positivity. If it is Justyn Martin next week, I'm not going to be really frustrated, but I still think it should be Ethan Garbers next week against Minnesota. All right, that's all. I'm going to wrap this one up. I do have to go. You see, I'm wearing my Clippers merch. As you do know, or some of you know, I do work for the Clippers now. I got to go run. I'm hosting some tours today. So I think there was a comment in there from Craig saying, how's your daily job going? It's going well with the Clippers. I'm going to be at the arena right now. So take care, everybody. This was the Locked On UCLA Postcast. I'm Gavin Carlson. UCLA does fall 27-11, but things will get better, okay? They will get better, and it's going to start with a win next week. All right, take care, everybody. And as always, 4's up. Go Bruins. Take care. Have a great weekend.